Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
It's Championship Sunday in the Precision Racing League Cup Series, and we're coming at you live from the city. Well, it doesn't sleep, but it is not New York City. It is Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Sin City, if you will. And I'm Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Derek Watson. It's been a good run of 8 races up to this point. It's the 9th and final of Season 1. A 17-point advantage for Trent Dinkle. And, of course, those 8 races that we've been at so far this year are on your screen. I mean, there's been a lot of variation here, Derek, but coming to Vegas, it's that intermediate that we're all familiar with. Do you expect any big swings here as we really reach the end?
I think we'll see a couple big swings. A couple of drivers who have nothing to lose may make some different strategy calls and roll the dice and go all in and see how it works out for them.
Yes, and of course, looking at those Cup Series standings, Dinkle a 17-point advantage over Abner Acosta. It's pretty much the reverse of what happened last season, where Abner was in the lead pretty healthily going into that last race. Trent was able to make that advantage or disadvantage up. A 15-point gap between Abner and James O'Brien. All of them private label team hype, which should lead to no surprise over the team's point standings, where private label team hype leads by a 97-point advantage over Pioneer Racing. But other than that, those standings are definitely Going to be something to watch here as the night goes on. Well, as you get the secret look of our producer, Dustin Allis, we also need to thank who makes everything work here in the Precision Racing League and on RaceSpotTV. Advanced Sim Racing, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Muradness. Muradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast. Fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Thank you to all of our partners here with the PRL and RaceSpotTV. Qualifying is over. Time to look over the grid here for this 150-lap or 90-minute race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And surprise, surprise, Trent Dinkel gets the pole, gets 2 bonus points. That advantage has now been stretched to 19 points with a limited number of drivers in this race. Trent will start alongside Maverick Davis in position number 2 with 500s back. Abner Acosta, Park Hilliard, Lou Christian, your top 5, while Pat Harvey rounds out the top 6. Moving down, Tommy Brandon, Chris Hudson, Waldo Walden, and Chris Vinson, your top 10, while Luis Rodriguez and Devin Maines are your first 6 rows. In position number 13 is James O'Brien, far back down from where he would like to have been starting, alongside Brandon Fetterplace, Jose Medina, Bruno Mello, Jose Acosta, and Jeff Chandler round out the first 9 rows, while Chad Kibbe, Brandon Walter, and Vicente Sepulveda did not set any times. Will start 19th, 20th, and 21st. Derek, 21 drivers in this race. The gap has officially been stretched a little bit longer between Dinkel and Abner Acosta. That's rough. That's already a blow before we've really gotten the first round going.
Yeah, it is a hit to Abner, right? There's a couple more bonus points out there. There's leading a lap. There's leading the most laps. There's having the fastest lap. So a little bit of space can still be made up by Abner, but a long way to go, a big mountain to climb. The odds are not in his favor, if you will, as we begin to get to the grid here at Las Vegas.
I mean, when we talk about it, 8th place was all that Trent needed. Now it's 10th place. That's all he needs to lock up this championship. And honestly, that's because he has taken away the possibility for more bonus points. And it might have changed a little bit more. It actually might be 12th. Well, have to do the commentator math, which is never a great thing to do as the pace car starts rolling through the tri-oval. 1.5 miles this circuit just outside the strip of Las Vegas. It's around a 20-30 minute drive, around 20-ish miles away from the strip. I just landed from there at 2 or 3 a.m. Eastern time. Of course, the real world NASCAR Cup Series race just happened here. Relatively tame. Is this race going to be as tame as we just saw in real world racing, Derek?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be fairly tame. We're going to get spread out and probably get some long runs in here, I would assume. Across the official races on iRacing this week, the most dangerous part of this track for some reason has been basically the start-finish line. The middle of that tri-oval has been a real danger point across the A-Fixed, A-Open, and NIS races this week, so I'm curious to see about that. What I'm also curious to see, as Dinkel will probably be a little bit more conservative just to maintain this championship, could we see the difference between a winner in the season and a winner for the race?
It could potentially be that way. Quick update before we go green. 12th is now all Trent Dinkel needs to lock up this championship. Only 21 drivers entering tonight's race, and only 20 of them have taken the grid and will get the green flag. The number 9 of Trent Dinkel moves through the tri-oval into the starting zone. Green is in the air. One more race to crown a champion. First lap complete. Maverick Davis leads the first lap. Dinkel does not get the bonus point he wanted off the jump. Doesn't matter though. Abner Acosta right in tow in P3. The top 3 single file, but a side-by-side battle going on between Hilliard and Lou Christian. And now look at that. Acosta going underneath Dinkel.
Yeah, going under Dinkel is the way to pass here. You can't pass on the outside, but that's really only when tires wear out, and there's just some differences going on there. Now, with these being open setup races in the in the PRL Cup Series, we can see a difference in how cars behave short run versus long run. But look at Maverick, really doing a great job. Maverick is someone who really here across RaceSpot lately, Dylan, has really proven himself between PRL Cup, RSR, and other leagues. Maverick has had really an incredible start to 2024.
Yeah, Maverick, I was racing with him actually at Atlanta in last Monday's RSR race on RaceSpotTV, and he and I had some good battles on track. He actually made me have to make a great save going into turn 1, if I do say so myself, Derek Watson. But he's got a ton of speed. Oh, look at that. It's Chris Vincent who goes off pace.
Way off pace, yeah.
What happened there?
Probably what happened is he probably got a little loose out of the corner and just had to check it up and save the car. Both corners here, 2 and 4, can be quite tricky, especially 4 as the run goes on, about how the car will just kind of snap loose. Watching here, oh no, just kind of got sandwiched in there and had to make a decision to lift. And maybe got a small bump. Yeah, maybe got a small bump in there, didn't he? Great save.
Yeah, some contact with the 43 machine of Chris Hudson running inside the top 10, so not good for Vincent, but hey, you're exactly right there, Derek. It was a fantastic save, and he continues to roll on within this pack. Lots of cars in this Hornet's Nest. It's a momentum-based racetrack. You know, it's not as much horsepower in a 10-year-ago stretch, right? As we see Dinkel go underneath of Maverick Davis, but does not hold it there coming off of turn 2. It's really key to try and hold that car as low as you can to make some moves, because if you leave a hole, just a little bit of space there, there's a lot more room than you'd think when it comes to desperation time.
Yeah, there definitely can be more room than you think. Look at this 3 wide racing back here, almost 2-3 wide back to the pack here. Got to back down to 2 wide here. Now these drivers up top, they're going to lose the momentum game, as you said. This is a momentum-based track. However, you might see that they benefit from that a little bit later if this run stays long and how much tire they save. Look at this pass here. This is the lead, and that's Trent Dinkel back up front.
If he's able to hold it as, oh, there was almost some contact. Davis slotted right in behind, but Dinkel will lead his first lap of the race. As it stands, that's a 20-point difference now between Dinkel and Abner Acosta, but Abner can certainly get himself a point by leading a lap in this race. Davis will speed on by on the outside. I think Dinkel is more than okay with just sitting in the back for now of Davis, as we see some 2 wide action up there. He wanted to get that lap led, get that bonus point under his belt while he can right now.
Yeah, get that bonus point in and get it done, but also stay up front.
Oh boy.
The racer's mentality is that you typically are safer in the front of the pack than you are the back of the pack, and that's good proof right there. Look at that 3 wide racing around Vegas. It's not impossible, but man, it's a little bit more sketch than maybe it would have been at a Daytona or an Atlanta where we've been the past 2 weeks, but they're doing pretty well with this.
Yeah, doing really, for now. They're doing really solid. Remember, there's more than just first or second that will be decided as this race goes on. If we're looking at the driver's standings, obviously James O'Brien, who's currently found himself in 6th. He didn't qualify well, but he's certainly making up spots immediately as there's a driver who's fallen down a few spots in the order. You see those leaderboard swatches happening all the time. But, you know, O'Brien's only 15 points back of Acosta. It's still a healthy amount, but it's not insurmountable.
No, it's not
Acosta,
insurmountable at all. Now look at this pass here. This is number 5 going up top. That is now the new leader. So if he will get around here and lead a lap, and then he'll have that bonus point. So he'll level off that bonus point at least here and get that moving around. You're right, there are a lot of great point battles. We saw the graphic go by quickly. There's a 3-way tie, Dylan, between 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's Pat Arby and Chris Hudson are involved in that battle with another driver as well. So lots of battles to be decided besides the leader here. And there is Abner leading that lap. So he has secured that bonus point here. Now look at Trent, now dominating and trying to pass on the outside.
Yeah, and to your point, by the way, as these two get very close together heading into turn 3, the tiebreaker is always whoever has got the most wins, and then so on down the order between two drivers. And in that battle, you look at somebody like Chris Hudson, who is in that tie with, for example, Luke Christian, and he's got a win, though. So Hudson wins the tiebreaker no matter what, just like Trent Dinkel would win over Abner Acosta. Even if Acosta won this race, as they're racing 1-2 right now, because Abner has 2 fewer wins heading into the final race of the year. You know, you can't get 2 wins from one race.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that turns out. Of course, that's if they tie. And a long way away from that. If you can take a different look here at a camera shot here, and the private label Team Hype boys are all over this race. I mean, 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 here with Acosta and Dingo. I tried to combine their names there. Yeah, Acosta, like a I don't know what that kind of accent that would be, but that's not like a Boston accent.
Pasternak. You know, Boston Bruins, David Pasternak.
Shout out to Richard Regan, by the way. Sorry about that, buddy.
Richard Regan Jr., you know, we talk about, you know, some of the kings of the PRL. I mean, he's one of those drivers that when you're trying to talk about, you know, champions and the amount of championships, Regan Jr. has got 26 wins, Dinkel's got 35, James O'Brien and Abner Acosta 23 and 22 respectively in the, I'm sorry, I was looking at the whole position table. Dinkel is just completely dominating when it comes to that regard now. But if we talk about championships, as they are very close coming across the line. I mean, Regan Jr., he's got 4 Cup Series championships, but it's going to be close between somebody like Dinkel or Acosta or Richard Regan Jr. in years down the line when we kind of look back at their legacies of what they've left here in PRL competition.
And I'll tell you what, speaking of Richard Regan, he is the man up in the crew chief box and the spotter box for Trent Dinkel tonight inside the simulator. So if you want to have some experience there on your side, that'd be the way to do it. So now Dinkel's slowly kind of creeping in, slowly stalking Abner Acosta, just biding his time here. And you got Christian, O'Brien, and Park Hilliard rounding out the top 5 here. Maverick's falling back kind of quickly back into P6.
Yeah, and Davis, this is what I always worry about with him. You know, he's so fast, but he burns off the rubber very quickly. You know, it's only 17 now on lap 18 into this run, but it's very easy to use up the equipment, especially, you know, when it's not a truck going around here at Las Vegas. If you've had any time and see fixed iRacing action this week, you may have found that you're pretty much able to use those tires to the full extent, or even Atlanta Cup last week. And it doesn't matter, right? Those tires will start to go away and hurt you more in the long run. If you use that rubber up quickly, that's detrimental. But lap 19, Abner still leads the way, and I know he's trying to think, you know, maximize points opportunities, but it's also a mitigation of loss at this point.
Yeah, and you're right about the tires. This is probably the first track this season where it's really, really going to matter. Of course, we could use them up at Atlanta last week, but here at Vegas, if we come to a point where someone pits under green, the difference between tires and new tires and old tires will be completely obvious. Welcome on board here with Devin Maines, part of SSR Elite, number 14 machine here. So now a battle for the lead again. Dinko to the outside here, trying to make it work. And does he complete it? He does, I believe, on the back straight here. Let's see what happens in 3 and 4. Now, as these tires begin to wear out, which is where I was going with this point, these corner right here will become incredibly difficult. 3 will be difficult, but 4, this transition out of 4 will get quite slick, and you'll find some cars pointed towards the grass as those tires begin to wear off.
I think Abner led that last lap as well, so these two, if you're going to see a chance for contact between two teammates, it's going to be in a championship race when they're so evenly matched. I mean, when I think Las Vegas, a 1.5 mile intermediate track, I think, hey, Trent, Dinkel, and Abner Acosta are going to be the ones to beat. But then you look in behind, right, as they're still side by side. James O'Brien's running 4th. Maverick has made it back into P3. Oh, there's some contact between the 42 in the back. Caution is out. That's a big mess. The 34, the 14. That's a race ender for some. And, I mean, that's more cars that are out of this race.
Yeah, it's going to involve Brandon Fetterplace in the 34 and a couple others here. The 42, as you called out, would be Jose Acosta. And we'll wait and see what happens as Fetterplace gets moving here. Let's see, there it is. Oh, man, there was some contact before that, as I saw that car wiggling when we went into that replay. So, not sure if we can back that replay up a little bit and just cue it up again. But definitely I saw Fetterplace and Acosta both wiggling coming into that replay here. So, and once again, as I said, the most dangerous part of the track this weekend, officials, has been that start-finish line. I don't know what it is about the curve there. Let's see it up top.
It started at the exit of turn 4. So I don't even think it was just trying to set themselves up for the tri-oval as much as one car might have gotten loose on exit of 4 and all, you know.
Yeah, balling back and forth.
Pretty much. Wild.
Well, here we are, 23 laps in. I'd expect to see everyone come down and use a set of tires here. Tires matter so much for the first time in a few weeks. I can't imagine, Dylan, there's a way that you don't want tires here.
I mean, it depends, right? Like, there's no way that you're going to spend another few laps on worn tires when you've seen what you got. You want to see what that tire wear is as everyone comes into the pits. So I'd say that if we're coming down to it, 20 laps, older tires with maybe 50 laps to go, you might think about staying out or coming in for right sides, something like that. But doesn't matter for now. We got a long way to go, and Dinkel and Acosta both get into their stalls pretty easily. Dinkel's got that #1 stall and gets jacked up on the right side. Come around to the left as well. So we'll see who's going to win this race. I mean, it's going to be maybe not Dinkel. It was close between Acosta and him. But side by side, Dinkel gets out in front, stays out in front, and this hurts Abner because it's more laps that he's not going to be able to lead, that Trent's going to be able to lead, and maybe it's a battle between who leads the most right here.
Yeah, that definitely matters, of course. There's a bonus point for leading the most laps. So let's watch what's going to happen. There's an onboard replay, by the way, of this wreck. Watch this here. This is coming out of 4, as you said. And I
feel like they both got loose.
That's what I'd say. It looked like both of them got loose, didn't it? I feel like they both kind of got loose. They both kind of did the same thing and ended up in a wreck there. So that's unfortunate to see. Now, something I like that you said, as I said, there are plenty of drivers in this race who unfortunately are not going to win the title. They're here just maybe for points. They're here to get some racing experience in or just to race. That idea you had for 2 tires, that really stuck out to me on my ears. As, you know what, listen, if I was in the back of the pack, I would try it right now. What do I have to lose? If it doesn't go well, you know, then I know for the end of the race that's a stupid idea and I'm not going to do it. But if I were to try 2 tires right now, which I think Jose Medina, by the way, did, I'm being told in my ears. He got all the way up to P5 with this strategy.
It was with fuel only for Jose Medina is what we're being told right now.
That's different. I don't know if that's way different than I thought. Well, but I would try 2 tires because then you know when we come to the end of the race, if we have a yellow with, let's say, 10, 15 to go, it's a science experiment, right? You know what the car could do before you need to know what the car can do.
You know, I don't necessarily disagree with that mindset, but I will say, you know, you use right sides, you're not going to come in for just left sides, right? That's basically the same as using a full set of tires. So, yes, it's a science experiment, but I'd rather try that specific science experiment later on, you know, see what these...
Oh, I would try right sides. I would never change this laps. I can't imagine it rolled.
Yeah,
I'm changing just laps.
Yeah, and that's what I'm meaning. Like, you know, you're not going to try to maybe take right sides only right now because it's going to waste one full set. It's pretty much that. I do like the idea later on if there's a 20 lap or so run coming up, but as it stands, Medina's going to try and compete with these guys with old worn tires, 25 laps old. Trent Dinkel leads the way, and already you see that jump that Medina does not get, that the top four do get, as we're back to green flag racing, Derek.
Well, the reason he doesn't get that jump, Dylan, is because he's concerned about spinning the old tires and there not being all that grip when you step on the gas pedals. You have to be a little more ginger with it, and it can hold you up here. My experience tells me that he's going to get ate up by these cars here. They're going to pass him by. You'll see a big difference in lap times between tires and no tires. So what will save him for now is the draft, as long as he stays in it. But they should be able to get around him pretty easily if they want to.
Medina is struggling, I think, right now to keep up with everybody. He's going to try and run that high side as much as he possibly can. And, I mean, that's really the only way I can think about it working for him, is he got really close to that outside wall right there. The more that these drivers use that inside because they've got fresh tires, they're going to use the grip that they do have allotted to them. I mean, they absolutely can do that, and that is a faster strategy to get around this racetrack. Medina's trying to use those 20-plus lap old tires to just stay within this pack, and so far, it's not working out perfectly, but it's not horrible, depending on when the next caution flies either.
Now, here's why he doesn't take tires, for those who may be asking that question in your head. Why didn't he take tires? Because there are limited tire sets here. This is not unlimited tires. And so he may be thinking, listen, I have the one up on the field. If this race goes a certain way, and maybe there's a chance that I could take tires at the end that these guys don't get, then I'm ahead. Then I have fresh tires, and, you know, I can make something happen for me. But watch from Chris Hudson here, last week's winner at Atlanta, coming up in the back of Medina. Under the draft, Medina won't be hurt so bad by this decision right now. But when it begins to spread out in 10, 15 laps and this draft breaks up, you'll see Medina struggle a little bit more than the rest of his competitors.
Yeah, for sure. And it really is kind of a matter of what the rate of fall off is for, you know, completely fresh tires versus ones that are maybe 20-plus laps older. Where's that cliff? Because there will be a cliff where all of a sudden it's impossible for Medina to keep up with any of the relatively fresher sets of tires. But they all get 4 sets, as, oh goodness, there was some closeness between Luke Christian and James O'Brien right there. They all
that
get
was
4
almost game,
sets
set,
of tires.
and match is what that was.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was. And it's 4 sets in addition to what they start on. So, you know, it saves a set potentially for the end. I don't hate it, especially because he's starting to bounce back a little bit. He's back into P5 and doing a really solid job.
And it feeds back into that question you asked in the beginning of the broadcast, where we see someone take a big swing at something. As Medina now goes to the bottom here, tries to get under the car in front of him here and make that pass happen. And what does Medina have to lose, right? He's down in points. I think he said he came in either 9th or 10th in points. He's not going to win that title. Try something. Be different. Try to win a race. You know, that's what you should be going for here.
Winning a race, especially when you don't have the chance to win a championship, and it's not like, you know, anything other than bragging rights is what you get for 5th or 6th or 7th, as Medina throws away all the work he's been putting in, and gosh, it was going well until it wasn't.
Yeah, and that's that bite we saw out of turn 4. It probably just snapped the car around a little bit. Great job of saving it. Try to lift it off the gas. Just a little watches here. Listen to
completely just lost it on the exit of 4. It seems like that's a problem area, and still he continues falling back. Was there another problem right there?
No, probably just now settling in. probably now is like, okay, let me get my stuff together, let me get my bearings together. But I want to praise him for a second, because what you heard in that replay was him lifting when he lost the car. And that's so important, because in iRacing a lot, your standard response when you start to lose the car is to slam the gas even harder, and that often doesn't help.
It's a panic response, and some drivers, they kind of lose all of their headspace. Watch this. Onboard, exit of 4, and the car just turns, and all it takes is that little bit of a loss of momentum to lose a top 5 running position and fall all the way back into 17th position away from this pack, this group of cars, and he's really going to struggle as time goes on. Abner Acosta, by the way, back into the lead, and look at this, peek to the inside by the 99 of Brandon Walter. Luke Christian slowed up there.
And honestly, compared to a lot of the cars I've seen get lost out of 4 this week, that was a pretty mild one for Jose Medina, by the way. That nose barely turned. I've seen some this week that are basically almost like a 30, 40 degree angle coming out of turn 4. So great job for Medina on all accounts.
He is really trying to push it with this this 99 car, that is, of Walter. He really wants to move into the top 5 right here. You see that camera shaking, and that's not just for effect. That's actually how the bumps at Las Vegas Motor Speedway feels like. It's a bumpy racetrack. It's not as smooth as it was when it was repaved around 15, almost, I guess, gosh, 20 years ago. This track used to be very flat, very different before it got that banking, and oh goodness, Walter moved up to the outside to block off a run from cars in behind, and that was dangerous. Tommy Brandon had to check up there. 3 wide for the lead.
James O'Brien now wants to make a run at it up at the top of this track, and they're going to come together pretty close here. Man, Abner was all the way down below the white line there, and I thought he kind of wiggled the car, and he did a little bit, which is why he lost the momentum, and now Dinkel's back out front.
A private label team hype. Oh goodness, they're wrecking. No. Who's down? It's Luke Christian into the inside wall, sliding back onto the track. Hits no one. Caution is out. Oh no, got T-boned by Jose Medina. And that was unnecessary. That is horrible. And it looks like the 99 was the reason that wreck happened. We were talking about it. Our producer and our eyes and ears in the booth were also mentioning it to us. The 99 was going a little bit haywire there, and seems like once we get this replay that Walter might have been the reason that wreck started.
There's 2 parts to the wreck here. There's the beginning of the wreck that we're going to see here with the 99 and others, and Luke Christian. Let's watch this here.
A little bit of net code too.
A little bit of just overreacting, I think, about how close some people were. But this part right here, watch this.
What is Medina doing?
Oh, that's... I'd love to see the onboard of that. I mean, listen, here's what I'll say in defense of Medina until we see the replay. There's that common meme of hold your brakes or get on the brakes or however you want to use that phrase.
How about turn right?
No. Oh, hold on, let's listen in for a second. Hold on. This be Medina here, just coming out at 2 onto the back straight. By this point, the wrecking is probably starting to see on the inside there.
He just turns in.
So let me tell you what Medina's thinking here. I actually understand this after watching the replay. What Medina sees in his view is a puff of smoke that's going up the track, right? Medina is anticipation that puff of smoke is going to continue to move up the track. It's unfortunate for him, and yes, you can make the argument he could have and should have slowed down, but his anticipation is that puff probably has moved further up the track than what it did, and then by the time he sees Luke Christian, you know, unfortunately that's just, it's a little too late. Watch this here. You see that moving, and then, oh man, maybe even Christian moves down a little bit, but not enough that made a difference, but yeah, I don't know.
I've got one question though.
Okay.
What's he racing against right there?
I understand your point. I mean, I think the difference in real life mentality and iRacing mentality, though, is that in iRacing mentality, we sort of teach ourselves to get through the wreck as fast as possible. The longer you lurk, the more danger you're in. Just because people do some weird things under caution in iRacing that maybe don't happen in real life. I'm
gonna chalk that up to it was going really well for Jose. Before it didn't. Before it wasn't going well.
Yeah, like, I think he thought the car was going to keep moving up the track, and it just didn't. You know, and listen, and to be fair, we've all had a moment where we thought we were doing the right thing, and you're like, man, that was a dumb move when you look back at it. So, yeah. So here's the problem. Let's just look at that light as well. Look at that. That is green. If we can go through this kind of slowly here. When does the light turn? Let's see what happens here. If we can move this replay a little bit. Where's your next pole? Well, I can't find one now because now they don't put them into Las Vegas. But I mean, yeah, that's just hard. Obviously, the caution's out right here. I'm not debating that. But to answer your question, but what's he racing against? If the light is green, what's he? I mean, you know, I don't know. It's hard. I'm not defending what he did. He should have done, you know, lifted, you know, but we've all been there.
Well, I just checked back on the broadcast. There was around a 2.5 second part. It actually, the caution light did come out when he just slid back up onto the track, but Dina still had a little bit of time to react to smoke.
Oh, sure.
2.5, 3 seconds, but it just, I don't know. Self-preservation there among all else. I think Medina was just probably not, this is a bad thing. I'm not trying to say not focused, but you ever get in that situation when you're running by yourself and it's like,
you zone out a little bit.
Yeah,
you
you
all been
zone
there.
out.
You zone out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he was running up front in the top 5, just a few laps beforehand. Unfortunate, but also unfortunate for Lou Christian. That is a massive hit, and he had no.
And he was, and he was not happy. There was some comments made on the radio that, yeah, that shows he was not happy.
Oh man, we look at the amount of laps on these tires, and the top 9 stayed out while everyone else has gone into the pits, got new tires. It's curiosity inducing, Derek.
It is, because yeah, it's 20 laps. I would want new tires, but we also did talk about how many sets of tires they have and how you might want to preserve them for later. So now this is, I guess, a new science experiment to keep with that trend of topics we had earlier. You know, now Dinkle, O'Brien, Acosta, Walter, and even Vincent get to find out what the difference in 20 laps on tires are. The only way it'll probably be a massive difference would be if we were to go, you know, green for 40-ish laps or more. It'll start to show us ahead of what it is. But here we go. Trent Dinkle's about to lead us to the green once again here on a Sunday night.
Well, 2 cautions have come out in this race. Pace car goes down into pit road. 18 drivers still on the lead lap and taking the green flag. A bunch of tire spin. Dinkle gets a huge advantage, but James O'Brien will slot right in behind him. Abner Acosta, not a good restart.
No, not a great restart for Acosta at all. Look at it, already too wide up there on the top of this run here.
Single file all the way back until we move into 9th place as Mello has the inside track on Maverick Davis. But remember, Davis, one of those drivers that has fresh tires moving up right now. And this is interesting as this run progresses. He's the highest of the drivers who pitted right there. 16 lap difference in the tires. He's going to be able to run this high line, run the inside if he wants to. I mean, this speed is massive.
Well, what it does, it allows him to get a little bit more grip through the corners, maybe get in the gas a little sooner out of the corners, and just, you know, have better runs. Look at him here, almost 3 wide here behind Chris Vincent. Vincent, by the way, you see that purple name on the left side of your screen. That means Vincent currently has the fastest lap of the night. That is 1 bonus point to Chris Vincent. Oh, Maverick Davis just took it as I talked about it. 29.523. That is a blazing lap, by the way. That is great.
Did you see that shove through the corner right there?
I did.
That is crazy. Maverick does that a lot.
Listen, sometimes if you want to be fast, you got to make a move here and there, and even push Chris Vincent to the lead. If Vincent gets around here, he'll get a bonus point for leading a lap, and he will. Now let's see what Maverick Davis does about that. Maverick is going to probably get around here quickly, even on the outside.
Yeah, and Maverick's trying to take advantage of those tires as quickly as he possibly can. What's crazy to me is you got a guy like Maverick who is not afraid to be aggressive and run through there and actually, you know, just make sure that he has the best situation possible. Everybody else, I mean, they're still running in the back. They have not really broken through into the top 10 for the most part. Maverick has, though. He's just aggressive, and he knows that he wants to push right now. It's just those tires that fall off, it'll be probably at a similar pace to everyone else who did not come into the pits.
Well, and earlier you talked about Maverick Davis appears by all accounts to be a short run driver. And that's something that's very hard to learn in iRacing on either side. Trying to get a short run driver to learn to be a long run driver, or vice versa. If you're someone who is great at the long run, teaching you how to do a short run is incredibly difficult a lot of times. It's a skill that is almost just there by nature. It's hard to break that skill. So Maverick's doing a great job getting up front here.
Maverick P2, Chris Vincent leading some laps, and he shows some speed throughout this season, and he's trying to hold position here. He's got two fast cars on both lanes, and Davis actually clears Trent Dinkle right there. And look at that draft, the slipstreaming momentum into turn one. I mean, this is a scary group of cars to try and be in front of right here.
It is in a way, but you know, the longer this run goes on, the more it benefits Maverick Davis, because while he may be more of a short run driver, it's still 19 laps of tire difference. No matter how you cut that deck of cards, so to speak, still the same thing here. As you see, Dinkle does get back around, but Davis will be competitive here, even on the outside of this run. Watch him here, man, door to door there through the rival.
My question is, where does that, equal point come? Because we know Maverick uses his tires a lot more.
Ooh.
As Trent got really close right there and then comes up to block Abner Acosta, who sweeps down to the inside. We know Maverick uses those tires with a higher rate of wear than most other drivers. Does that, come back to bite him, right? Where those tires
yes and
on
no.
him. Okay.
It could come back to bite him against the other drivers who pitted when he pitted. Oh man, look how we're so close here in this run. It'll come back to bite him maybe against the other drivers who pitted with him when they eventually get through this field, if they do. But no matter, like I said, it's still 20 laps difference on Dinkle, on Acosta, on Walter. It's a net gain regardless. I mean, yeah, not only is it a net gain on tires, it's a net gain on gas. And if this stays green, that will be a conversation we have in about 40 or 50 laps, I think.
100% as Trent Dinkle takes the lead away from Chris Vincent. Gonna lead some more laps right here, and I'll tell you what, these guys are fixing to try and get themselves in a wreck. You got Davis and Walter, two very aggressive, hard-nosed drivers running side by side. Vincent running the top line. Walter's gonna try and just peek to the outside of Vincent, finds nothing there. Abner Acosta runs the apron. They go into the corner, 3 wide for P3. Davis leans on Walter.
Well, I'll tell you what, they were 3 wide, but Abner Acosta was clear by a lot, and then Davis and Walter weren't. They were right on top of each other. Now, here's Jose Acosta. Now he's squeezed in there.
And he kind of packs some air into the left rear of Maverick Davis and tries to slide up to the left front. Did they make contact? No. They were very close. They definitely made some there, though.
Yeah, they made some there. I'll tell you what. Jose, of course, it's almost weird to say it, that I feel weird saying this, but probably the more aggressive of the two Acosta brothers in PRL Cup Series currently. Jose is willing to make a move.
Contact in the back of the field, in the back of this pack. You saw some smoke right there, and I believe it was the 11 of Tommy Brandon who might have gotten into the wall. We pop back into the front. I mean, this battle, it's getting kind of hectic, right? You got 7 drivers really involved here, from maybe even James O'Brien, but he's kind of on the back of this. He's going to get a big run down this backstretch here. There's drivers who have 15-lap older tires and then 31-lap old tires. So it's around a 15-lap difference, 16-lap difference for all the drivers in this pack right now. Look at this run. James O'Brien's going to get a big one, but does he have a hole to go for?
Yeah, doing a great job here. And a couple minutes ago, he was actually kind of pushing Jose Acosta through. Glad he didn't there. That would have been a bad push. That would have turned Jose around had he done it there, but This is going to be a great run here from the back. Now he's going to be behind, I believe it's Maverick Davis right in front of him.
That's the one problem, though. He's boxed in, right? You're running outside, but it closes up pretty quickly. He's trying to find that clean air. That's why he moves to that third lane through the corners. Too much dirty air. There's a lot of drivers all involved in this battle. It's like a pack race right now. It's not like exactly like Atlanta or a big super speedway, but it kind of feels like it. Trent Dinkel, Abner Acosta, that's the constants. They're 1-2 right now.
Now, the way it is like a Daytona or an Atlanta, though, is the benefit James O'Brien is getting back here behind Maverick Davis and the others is that if he stays here, he's probably not fully on the gas, or I should say not on the gas as quick as the others from that draft. He'll save a bit more fuel. If we do need to make green flag pit stops here, he could spend a little less time on pit road because he's not burning as much fuel as a Dinkel or an Acosta or Chris Hudson. By the way, Chris Hudson's silently up to P3.
There's no way that these drivers don't find themselves into a wreck at some point within the next few laps. They're racing way too aggressive for there not to be something, right? Something has to give as Vincent slides up in front. They almost split the difference and go 3 wide. James O'Brien thinks better of it, but you still have Walter on the inside, Vincent trying to block O'Brien, and now Pat Harvey's getting involved in the conversation. But the top two breaking away, Dinkel, Acosta, they're trying to at least, but Hudson and Jose Acosta are sticking with them.
Yeah, and this is for some reason is the one difference between this race in virtual iRacing versus real life right now is how much of a pack race this still is in the iRacing world. Now, if it's just a difference in maybe how the track is worn in real life, or it's a difference in how they set the cars up in real life, but there's something different because you don't see this kind of battle typically happening for that long in real life. I mean, that was close. A close move by Abner Acosta there.
It's going to be a big run for the 42 of Jose Acosta, but again, kind of blocked off. They find themselves back into a single file formation as Abner gets pinched by Trent Dinkel, but Dinkel left the door open just a bit on the exit of turn 4. Gonna have a bit of momentum here, especially with the side draft of the 43 getting involved. Hudson running that outside line. You got a lap car in front. That's Jose Medina, 15 laps down. That's gonna affect this battle for sure.
Now think about this. You know, Chris Hudson told me today that it felt so great to kind of get that monkey off his back and get that win last week. Now imagine what that heart rate is right now. Those nerves are setting in, the anxiety setting in. Listen, now the reality is coming in. Man, what if I do this 2 weeks in a row? What if I go back to back to end the season? That's somewhere in Chris Hudson's mind right now.
.62 of 150. We've seen some really solid action for a race that has not even hit the halfway point yet. As a little bit of freeness is kind of seen in front. I think that was Abner Acosta. Chris Vincent trying to run the outside of him. They're still racing 3 wide here on the cusp of the top 10. Big move in front. Jeff Chandler gets to slide in front of Maverick Davis. Now, let's talk a little bit of pit strategy. If we do see this go green flag for a longer time than I think we're expecting, these Cup cars can probably go anywhere in the range of around 105 miles on a full tank of fuel. Now, give or take some, depending on how you use that fuel. At a track like this, you're probably looking at 70 or so laps, 65 to 70 laps, maybe 71, 72 if you really stretch it. I mean, we've got probably another 30 laps before we start to see green flag pitting.
Yeah, I would say it's more in the range of 60, I would think. But yeah, if we can see that graphic in a second of when everyone pitted last, this will be where Maverick Davis will get that benefit. There's the numbers on the side of your screen. Look at this. So Trent Dinkel, by the way, says he pitted his last pit stop. That's not right. He didn't. Maybe he did pit 24 laps ago. That can't be. No, it's got to be. Oh, that's the number of the lap. I'm sorry. I can't read. Let's try that again. See, this is how long to spend. Thank you. That's what I was looking for, and I can't read appropriately. So look at this. Chris Hudson, by the way, is one of those drivers who pitted under that last yellow up in the top 2 here. So, you know, that 16, 17 lap difference will make a difference of when these guys pit under green if that comes around. It will make a difference on how long they're going to sit on pit road. The other thing in my head is if we say they were 49, that's 50, that means they're pitting on lap 90. That means these guys will be cutting it kind of close if we say green on making the 150 mark. It's doable, but it's not going to be full throttle the whole way.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be rough. I think the drivers who did come into the pits the last time can go on a one-stop strategy until the end of this race. You're right. That's way too close for drivers, you know, like Trent Dinkel or like Abner Acosta to really feel like they can make it. I think they'll still be able to, but it's going to be maybe saving a bit, if that, honestly.
Yeah, so it'd be different, but the biggest difference will be how much less time that a Chris Hudson, a Maverick Davis, or a Jose Acosta needs to spend on pit road. That 16, 17 lap difference of gas will equate to a few seconds, and that'll be different. Oh man, why wide here?
Dinkel still leading, while Hudson trails by less than a tenth, but gets a big run here on the exit of turn 2. Hudson's trying to look for the lead here into 3, side by side on the bottom. Hudson's going to try and hang it down, but I feel like that momentum is going to be captured by Trent Dinkel, and he's got Abner in behind. Not that I think Abner wants to run and help out Trent Dinkel, but at this point, these laps led, Trent is on pace to
he's
get
basically
the most
there
laps
at
led.
this point. Yeah, he's basically there. And now what I expect to see from Chris Hudson here with those newer tires, I'm surprised he wasn't able to hold the bottom line a little better and get around Dinkel. This kind of is a statement for how great Dinkel is, that even on older tires, he's still able to hold those drivers off. But I'd say at this point, Dinkel has all but wrapped up that most laps. I mean, he would have to stop leading laps like right now, I think, for it to even be in play.
No, not exactly. I mean, there's still 80 to go. What we're seeing right now is Trent Dinkel's got 38 laps led with Abner at 15 laps led. So, I mean, quickly, if Abner is able to take the lead away and lead the next, 25 laps, he gets back into that most laps led conversation. But it's going to be close, right? The more laps that Trent is hanging out at the lead, now 39 laps led, the fewer laps there are in this race. Even though there still are, 80 laps to go, every lap that's led, it's almost like a 1-2 punch where Abner can't lead that lap and Trent does lead that lap. So not looking good right now for Abner in any sense of the word for the championship.
No, not looking that great at all. And maybe he may be kicking himself for not trying to pit last time by. And one thing about the private label team hype guys, though, I will say for them is that they're a team. They work as a team, they drive as a team, they think as a team, and they're about the team. They know the success of the team is important. They're proud of the fact that they win the team titles. They're proud of each other. Pardon me, they support each other. But yeah, I would think Abner maybe kicked himself later for not trying a different strategy.
Probably the case, as if we look back to last week, they scored the exact same amount of points. Abner finished 12th. Trent finished 14th, and of course that's with bonus points factored into it as well. Most laps led was Trent, as well as the fastest lap. I mean, if you're Abner, you're kicking yourself that you had problems in that race and didn't get back into the conversation for this championship in a bigger way than needing a miracle at this point.
Yeah, so sometimes there's an old saying of it's better than, less than, or different than as the 3 ways you're successful in life. And right now, Abner's sort of doing same than, which is just doesn't equate to success in a lot of ways.
Trent Dinkel's still leading with Chris Hudson and Abner Acosta starting to break away. Harvey's doing a really solid job of slowly crawling up the order, not really getting involved in any, ridiculously entertaining on our behalfs, but not comfortable moments on track on his behalf, as we ride on board with a different view of Trent Dinkel, but it's
in a different chair.
It's a different
Is that a different room?
I think it's a different room, but it's definitely the same shirt, but a different hat as well. So,
the Team Conti hat's fairly new. Yeah, that's a fairly new hat he's added to the collection. I don't see the cars in the background. That's a different chair. That's a whole different room, I believe. That door on the left, it's weird to think I know what Trent Dinkel's room looks like.
This is true. This is, and look at that. He's
last time the judge said I wasn't allowed to do that anymore.
I'm gonna leave that where it lies, like a 18th hole shot that goes wrong at a golf course. So this pack has definitely splintered just a tiny bit. However, 14th on back, it's got its own little pack with Luis Rodriguez, around 5 seconds behind Trent Dinkle. He currently leads a group of drivers in the, I would say, mid-pack in most series, but it is the tail end of this specific race, 14th on back. But Abner Acosta, he's starting to drop more positions. It's really not looking good. He was almost taken out, too, right there by a very, very loose Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, very loose Jeff Chandler indeed here. Just that bright green car up on that side. There's Pat. Got the glasses up. Those aren't being very helpful right now, but maybe they will later when he puts them down for safety reasons. But Pat, pardon me, doing a great job here. Has caught Chris Hudson and Trent Dinkle here. Now is running up in P3. That very bright race car. By the way, Dylan, I should say, if you're watching this race and you're thinking, you know what, I could do that, well, you can. Signups for everyone is currently open for PRL Season 2. That starts in a few weeks here. So head over to precisionracingleague.com and you can possibly be a part of this or any other league. There's the Prototype League on Mondays, GT3s on Tuesdays, Grand National and Trucks on Wednesdays, and then brand new this season, Super Formulas on Thursday nights, Dylan. It's going to be fun. By the way, have you seen the schedule for next season yet?
You know, I have not personally seen the schedule, but if we're talking about the series, there is a new series on Thursdays, Super Formula, Super Wow.
Super Wow indeed, yeah. So let's talk about for the Cup Series specifically. Here's your schedule for next season. The preseason race, that will be at Bristol. That will be on March 17th. Then here's your 9-week schedule. We're going to start at COTA. Then we're going to Martinsville, Texas, Talladega, Dover, Kansas, Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and we'll end at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It's going to be at the end of May. That'll be a good watch for everybody here as these battles, you know, the longer this run goes on, the more groups that come to play, even with fewer drivers in each group, but they all are having their own specific fights going on as we get closer and closer to that pit window. We're still 70 laps away, coming to 69 laps away from reaching that checkered flag. And I mean, at this point, you can maybe get away with pitting now and making it to the end, but they still have time to go. They'll be fine. For the drivers that, you know, are on longer stints, I think everyone can make it with one more stop easily. Yeah,
I think it's just a matter of how long that stint is, and I suspect within the next 10 laps or so, that first window is going to open for Dinkle, Abner Acosta, James O'Brien, that group that didn't pit under the last caution. We're within 10 laps of them being ready to come down pit road and maybe do their last stop of the season.
It's going to be the money stop. They need to make sure.
I'm glad you said that.
Oh, gosh. Lap 83 of 150. Oh, damn. And this is a good battle. Bruno Mello is, you know, we talked about Bruno a few times in these races recently, and he's shown a lot of speed, and he's someone that's really grown with this series in the past couple of seasons, and he's shown that he has race-winning speed. Maybe it's got to be the right situation for him to get that dub, but hey, maybe it's today. I don't know if anyone's going to beat Private Label Team Hype at their own game, but he's right there in that 78.
Yeah, it could be. This could be the day when all is said and done where maybe we find out that Bruno Mello, as part of Love Racing, is able to get it done. You know, also on the line tonight, by the way, is one of the last, if not the last opportunity to punch a ticket into the PRL Season 1 All-Star race. Chris Hudson punched his way in last week with a victory at Atlanta. If a new winner emerges tonight, Dylan, they would get an invitation into the All-Star race.
That is a big, intriguing factor. It's always nice to be invited to those All-Star invitationals, and it's going to be raced in a lot of different drivers with different disciplines, different backgrounds, and different tracks. It's always fun to kind of see those multi-series drivers as a move is attempted to be made by Maverick Davis on Park Hilliard. It's what we were talking about earlier, Derek. Maverick used up those tires big time.
Yeah, he has used them. Remember, that's also been a number of laps ago as of this point. I mean, that's been a good number of laps. So everyone's kind of using their tires, but your point still stands. I mean, for Maverick here, 40 laps ago. Hard to believe that's already been 40 laps since that yellow happened. And now we're looking at 63, almost 64 laps for the others who didn't pit. So, yeah, I would suspect that I think by lap 92, people should be coming. Here's Lou Christian and Vicente Sepulveda, by the way, back here for 15th and 16th, having a nice little two-car battle here. All right, and there it is. I'm hearing our first pitting calls of this run, and there it is.
Looks like Chris Vincent is making his way down this difficult to get to pit road entry point, but he might have been a little bit too conservative getting to that cone. There is a lot of space that it's not like Atlanta, at least in the iRacing current configuration, not the real world pit road entry rules that NASCAR has done, but it's farther back. This cone is farther back. You have more space and time to get there. As Dinkel will use all that space, as does Abner Acosta. He will forfeit the race lead for now, and they went 65, 64 laps on this stint. A few more cars are going to come on in the next 3 or so laps, but they'll get 4 tires and fuel here. And
so the math tells you they only need to go about 60 laps here to make it to the end. So they will be good on gas if we make all 150 laps and we stay green here. So they have that confidence of knowing that. So the question now will just be that difference here of, you know, how long do they spend on pit road and in their pit box specifically versus the others, and does that make a big enough difference? Here they come off of pit road, by the way. James O'Brien will be in this time.
Now, the only thing that would make this a really interesting race, maybe not championship fight, as both Acosta and Dinkel are that lap down, would be if there was a caution that trapped them a lap down, as there's Mello spinning and holds it together. I think he kept it underneath that speed, that limit.
Now here's the downside of that. What it does, though, is for James O'Brien and Jeff Chandler, who are the 2 cars behind him, I guarantee you they were a slower entry on the pit road than they wanted to be. That will kill their pit delta to a certain extent.
Yeah, that will absolutely do that. Here's an onboard look at Bruno Mello, and
came in a little too late, little too hot.
However, I almost think that worked out almost just as well. Like he kept it straight after drifting. Look at that. I mean, he got it down the pit road speed. He maybe lost a few tenths right there, but hey, good on him. He did well.
Yeah, that's an impressive save. I'll give him that. That's another. I mean, luckily for him, Jeff Chandler and O'Brien were on their toes behind him, because either one of them could easily have just run him over had they not been paying attention.
Matt Harvey continues to lead, and Harvey and everybody else, the top 7, are on an alternate strategy to try and, I should say top 6 now, to try and trap the drivers that are currently a lap down, to remain them a lap down, as you see this battle right here between Hudson and Jose Acosta. Acosta trying to take second over, Derek.
Yeah, doing a great job here, trying to take second away from Chris Hudson. And this is a great battle. In a second, though, I want to go back to that last camera shot. Can we see Trent Dinkel again? I noticed something there in the back of that shot, Dylan. There's no yellow car.
Yeah, Abner was
by himself.
Abner was way off the pace in terms of his pit entry and exit delta. If we're looking at it, Dinkel 39.5 seconds on pit lane, pit road 41.7 for Abner Acosta. So we're also hearing Acosta drove past his pit box, and that is exactly what the doctor did not order for the driver of the number 5 private label team hype Camaro ZL1.
Yeah, because coming in, they were side by side coming down pit road, and I was curious what happened there. But yeah, if Abner overdrove a stall, that will kill that run and be disappointing for Abner to see that happen here. Here they are. Let's watch Abner here.
Oh,
Hides it. Oh no. Yep, it's going to back it up.
just barely.
Just that much. Just that much. And that'll eat you alive inside, knowing you made that mistake.
Bad news for the driver of the 78, Bruno Mello, who slid into his pit box, was running up front. Really well done for him. He's out of the race. He has dropped out of the field. Seems like internet issues on his end, meaning right now, 18th on back, out of this race in some fashion. You know, some of them are still on track, but that's a shame.
Yeah, so you see the laps here on the side of your screen. You see the top 6 here, either 56 or 57 laps. That means from what we saw from the previous group, they can go about 9 more laps here before they need to pit. So they'll pit right around lap, 105 probably. So, but here comes someone. Here comes Jose Medina.
He's 10 laps
That
down.
is, okay.
Yeah, Jose was
Oh, that's right. He's in the incident earlier from the, yeah, you're right. He's in the incident from the wreck earlier.
the ARCA brake moment.
The ARCA brake moment. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So right around lap 105, we'll see these guys come in. Now the good news is the stop will probably still be long enough to justify putting 4 tires in the car, because otherwise the Toyotas get crushed in lap time. But it will equate to probably a shorter, because with the way these gas tanks work in these cars, it does now feel like it's a little bit longer to get a full tank of gas in than it is to do 4 tires. So I think they'll still make up some time on pit road.
I agree. I think they will. I mean, the big thing is, if we stay green until the end, they're going to have a lot more tire life at the last 15, 20 laps of this race, as we see this battle for 4th between 2 of those drivers on the alternate strategy. Actually, it's not those 2. That's a lapped car right there. And Luis Rodriguez holding 4th. Maverick Davis right in behind. Looked like it was the drivers trying to unlap themselves as Luke Christian comes down pit road, looking like...
That is surprising.
You know, you might have seen that the crossover time of staying on those older tires for any bit longer would negate the benefit, as Pat Harvey thinks the same thing.
And so does Chris Hudson think the same thing. They're going to come in together here, and they're not staying out as long as...
Well,
the first group did.
It's trying to take advantage of the fact that they're going to be on fresher tires for a longer period of time, right?
But where I'm confused, though, is the benefit you're supposed to get out of this is less time on pit road. You don't need as much gas.
Well,
and
I think that's less that. I think it's less that. It's more, you know, you're going another 7, 8 laps on old tires, as Jose Acosta also goes down into pit road. The time spent on pit road getting fuel, it's going to be fairly negligible, especially if you're getting tires changed. That's the other thing. It's not just a fuel-only stop, right? You're also pitting, as Rodriguez and Davis are the only ones to not come down pit road from the alternate strategy right now. You know, you spend 60 laps on tires, the next 7 or so laps, you're going to lose so much time to the drivers who already came into the pits that it makes it a net negative, as Rodriguez pitched from the lead to stay out for the next 7 or 8 laps. Davis as well. Everyone's come down into the pits now.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. I just think when you lay out a strategy like that, at this point you might as well commit to the extra 5 laps. I get what you're saying. You know, maybe it's just the difference from being in the car and seeing the speed difference. But I would just at the point be committed to it. Right now, Trent Dinkel's going to cycle back around here the next lap or 2 to the lead and take that back now, as Maverick Davis and Luis are pitting. You see them there on pit road, and Dinkel's already your leader. So I guess we'll wait and see how this plays out. And we'd have to see a difference if maybe we can check timing and scoring and see what the difference in the pit box times were.
Top 3, the 9, the 5, and the 3-3. Dinkel, fastest of the top 7 in the box. Private label team hype, 1, 2, 3 in the championship standings in this order in this race. And if there's no caution, we're going to have a very boring next 47 laps to go. We're coming close to that crossover where Dinkel is going to be the driver with the most laps. It may have already happened. So.
Yeah, and you saw the pit box times here, by the way. You saw Chris Hudson and the others basically identical in the pit stop times. So that strategy did not play out as well as I thought it was going to, honestly. I was surprised here. Here's Waldo Walden and Vicente Sepulveda, by the way, up in 6th and 7th. So they're trying to make a run out of here and get a battle inside the top 10.
A little battle as Sepulveda has started way back at the end of the field in this race, but is on that 16-lap older tires, while Pat Harvey will be flying here. You know, Harvey's got a chance to, as he moves into 6th, he'll move into 5th pretty easily, I think, around Tommy Brandon. And then there's a 2-second gap between he and Jeff Chandler and James O'Brien. Chandler's flying, too, to catch up to O'Brien. I could see Harvey moving into a podium spot by the end of this race.
Yeah, doing a great job here. P6 coming out pretty well there, all things considered. And of course, if you look at the leaderboard, you'll see he's still probably about 7-8 seconds back here, but trying to make a move now into P5. Easily got by Tommy Brandon there.
Yeah, that was simple. I think he's going to catch up to Chandler pretty quickly. Chandler is within 1/10 of James O'Brien, as we see on your screen. This is for a current 3rd place position. How about Chandler? He's doing a really solid job here in that 31 machine.
Yeah, and my biggest surprise for Chandler, with all due respect, I assumed that Bruno Mello's spin on the pit road was going to kill both himself and O'Brien. I mean, in a way it kind of has, because they're, 3 seconds back from Abner Acosta. So it did kind of kill their run, but they're still 3rd and 4th respectively. That's a much better run, and what they're getting here a little bit, or they were at least, was that bit of draft there. I think that was from the 34, but that's now gone away. So 34 moved high, and at least let one of them by. Stuck Jeff Chandler to the bottom here for the moment.
Officially, the most laps led will be going to that man right there, Trent Dinkel. He has now led 61 laps. No one else can catch him. Abner Acosta has 15 laps led in this race. The difference officially in points between Abner and Trent, 20. And right now, everything is going to the driver, the number 9's direction. At this point, I mean, you go back 20 points, and it's a bigger swing too. I'll try and do some more math, but it's going to take a miracle. It already needed a miracle coming into this race, but everything's been going against Abner, as we see the 42 and the 1 side by side for 11th.
Yeah, this is Jose Acosta and Chris Vincent. Whoa, with Luis Rodriguez back there high out of the corner there and trying to make a move. Now, remember, Luis has the newer tires here of this group, and now blows by on the bottom, putting him 3 wide and showing the confidence he has in that new equipment. By the way, a real praise here for the PRL. When you think back to, I believe, Cup, Grand Nationals, and Trucks. Hold on, there's Dinkel pitting. What?
I have no idea what this is, but Dinkel has come down into the pits.
In the car?
That is potential. This is a massive development. He should have been good to the end of this race, but he has come down to pit road once again. We'll see if he gets tires. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Is he frustrated? Is this planned?
Well, he's frustrated. Don't worry about that. I'm 100% right side tires.
Must have been a fuel stop. He wanted to mitigate the losses by also just getting right side. So I have no idea what happened right there. Hopefully we get an answer, but that is interesting.
Well, here's interesting. It puts him back to, what, 16th place on the board here, and pretty well behind Luke Christian for P15. In a moment where I was about to talk about the difference in the points title, this just opened up. Like, there's no way he'd go for fast lap and throw away a title.
I was thinking about fastest lap, right? You know, we're looking at Formula One when drivers go for that fastest lap.
And we saw it.
That's not
I think it was on, 2 cents into GT3s. We saw a couple of drivers have fun, throwing down fast laps at the end because they knew they were out of contention. But there's no way he threw away a title for fastest lap. I don't think.
I gotta be honest. So right now, Abner Acosta, let's do the math live. Abner Acosta in the lead of this race. If he wins this race, which I believe is the only now mathematical way that he has a chance to win the championship, he'd get 42 points for being in first, 5 bonus points for the race winner, that's 47. Another bonus point for leading a lap, that's 48. Right now, Maverick Davis has the fastest lap. That won't change unless we get another caution and drivers come down into the pit. So let's say 48 points.
Another car pitting. That's Jose Medina. Never mind. Okay.
And, you know, if that is the case, where 48 points, you know, again, Acosta's not getting the fastest lap if it stays green. So the best he can hope for is 48 points by the end of this race. Right now, 20 points is the difference with Dinkel getting the pole and the most laps led officially in this race. And holds the tiebreaker. It needs to be 21 points. 27 points is the most that Dinkel can get. Right now, he would have, I think, get this, 1 point he'd lose by in the current way that it stands.
He being?
Dinkel would lose.
Dinkel lose by a point. I'm going to guess there was an issue on the pit stop where there wasn't gas put in the car. There's no way Dinkel plays with this. That's wow. I'm sure we'll hear from Trent after the race, and we'll find out what happened. But I'm guessing there's an issue with that pit stop. There's no other way. I mean, you don't need right side tires. You don't. I don't know. That's got to be it. I mean, unless there's something we just don't know from up here. That's crazy. You know, what I was gonna say, by the way, in a moment ago was, you know, in a praise to PRL and a praise to the Grand Nationals, the trucks, and even the Cup Series. You know, 20-point difference for a title over 9 weeks. That's about what the gap was for all 3 series, or closer, depending upon the series. That shows that there is, you know, some competition across all 3 series. There's no one, you know, walking away with a title, so to speak, in any of the 3 series. I mean, I think the battle from first to third to the Grand Nationals was 20 points between, you know, Regan all the way back to James Morgan in third for 20 points. So you know, we do have close points battles. That's a great, you know, moment for the PRL and something to be proud of and sort of beat your chest about. But here's O'Brien and Jeff Tanner now still third and fourth, still running along here. So it's Acosta, Harvey, O'Brien, Chandler, and Chris Hudson are your top 5.
I agree with you there. Definitely something that the PRL, you know, hit a home run with this year with a 9-race season. Every race meant a little bit more. So we look at stint lengths, which are, at this point, kind of all over the place. We had 2 specific strategies. It's kind of changed as the race has moved on. And there are 31 laps to go in this race. If a caution came out, Trent Dinkel is a lap down, but he would be the free pass. He'd get back onto the lead lap. And it looks like he just got around Abner Acosta for a place back on the lead lap. So not anything to worry about in that regard. But, I mean, as it stands, I'm telling you, unless my math is a little bit incorrect, we came in. And Derek, I'm going to ask you to live with me, double check my math.
Oh yeah, no.
Come on, commentator math.
Nope, absolutely not.
Commentator math.
I can make a fool of myself in many ways. I don't need it to be mathematically. I'm good there. We'll wait and see. So much stuff still to be figured out. You know, there's still that fastest lap question mark. There's still, if a caution comes out. So I'm not jinxing anything. I'm not doing it. No, we'll wait and see how it comes out here. This has become a great battle right here, by the way. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Hudson still very much in this, now with P4 in between Chandler and O'Brien. And I mean, Hudson's done a great job here as well. And really, you know, does his own streaming. There's his room. Just looks very, very calm right now. Very, very content there. And does his own streaming on his own channel. You know, you can kind of follow that along here. Yeah.
Vincent in the pits, and that's gonna hand the championship lead on a tiebreaker back to Trent Dinkel, by the way.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's
I'm
crazy
telling you,
to think. I mean, this is what it's going to come down to. I mean, who knows what Vince is able to do, what happens in a race. You know, I don't know if Federer Place can catch up. If it's still very much a thing. Here's Maverick Davis back in 11th, by the way, with Park Hilliard. Having a little battle. Man, Maverick Davis not clear, buddy.
Hudson, Chandler, James O'Brien running. Oh, up into the wall. That's a big hit for Jeff Chandler.
That wall still works, guys.
That wall is still there for sure. O'Brien slowing down big time. Why does it feel like all these drivers are starting to drop a little bit like flies? Pat Harvey, by the way, has gotten that difference between he and Abner Acosta to almost 1 second. And Harvey was flying before that pit cycle. He's still flying now, and he's on pace to catch Abner Acosta, but catching Acosta and passing him are two separate things, and he's doing it really quickly. You see that yellow 5 car. That gap has come down in that lap alone 3/10.
Yeah, there's a couple answers to your question about why does it feel like they're slowing down. They are, for a few reasons, right? One, you know, the tires are wearing off, so the speed's going to come down a little bit. Two, I suspect there's a minuscule amount of fuel saving happening across some of these cars. I don't think everyone is quite as secure on the fuel saving as we think they are. You know, those cars that stayed out for the 65 laps, by the way, that was with the yellow flag involved. So I don't think everyone's is as secure on the making it to the end as we think they are. I think that's happening. I think as the rubber's coming down on the track, you know, with this oval refresh we saw in the beginning of the season, there's some effects on the track. There's a lot of things happening here that's going to make this track slow down a little bit. Not to mention, we're probably right about the hottest part of the day at this track. So that slick track here, that's actually it's a pretty cool track. 79 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd love to race that. Man, sign me up for that.
I would have loved to have that wind speed this weekend. I'm telling you, it was 60-mile-per-hour gusts, at least yesterday.
I mean, I'm not one for giving out, you know, spoilers of the races, but I will say this. There's a moment in today's Cup race where the 5 team was trying to secure the canopy on the top of their trailer, or the pit wagon, whatever you want to call it, because it was trying to blow away mid-race. You know, I mean, a lot of wind. We saw a garbage pad come into play today.
Yeah, it was very windy, and this is Pat Harvey looking for a win for him. Abner Acosta trying to block him up to the wall, does that just barely. But Acosta, you're very accurate to bring up the fact that the caution was a factor, right, for saving fuel to getting to 65-ish laps. You take that caution out, maybe it's 62 laps they can go on a stint, and that would be exactly where Acosta would be if it goes green to the end. I think Abner was saving fuel as much as he could, and now he's going to turn it back on with Harvey in tow.
Which, thinking back on it, would explain why the second group pitted on lap 60. That was the group with Chris Hudson, Harvey, and others. Why they pitted what I thought they were going to. They didn't have that yellow flag to account for. Man, if I was Pat Harvey, I might be content to hang out behind Abner for under 5 laps or so. But nope, gonna blow by him. I'd hang out and see if I could, you know, fuel save a little bit. But obviously Harvey thinks he's in the good.
Yeah, because now Abner's gonna maybe, he's gonna fuel save now.
Yeah, now Abner gets that chance, right? But to see how it happens. But one thing will be different for Abner, he's not had to deal with it in 20, 30 laps maybe, is going to be the fact that now he's behind someone. Now how this car behaves changes. You know, how you turn in changes, how the car behaves changes. Maybe his car isn't as great behind someone. We'll have to wait and see here. But Pat Harvey here, of course, still a new father, I think maybe a season or so ago, had his newborn baby. So congrats to him on that. And now it's trying to come up here and lead at Vegas. Does, by the way, secures that bonus point. And if it wasn't, with all due respect, dead already, the odds of Abner leading all enough laps.
Dinkel just passed Lou Christian, by the way.
So now there's +1, -1. So now we believe that would put Dinkel up by 2.
Well, actually, +1, and then you got to remove.
-6.
Yeah, you got to remove those 5 bonus points.
You get a -6, carry the 1, divide by pi.
Yep, that's pretty much what you got to do there. Yeah, that's a -5 +1. That's a 6-point swing, I think, right there.
So I'm still curious what we're going to hear from Trent Dingle after this race about what happened with that pit stop there. It's got to be an error on the previous stop. There's no way he stops and throws away everything on a risk.
I mean, I'm confused by it. If he felt like he couldn't get to the end of this stint on a full tank of fuel, maybe that's one thing. But I don't know if that necessarily would have been a problem, or an issue, a huge concern.
I'm going to guess we're going to hear there was an issue with either the auto fueling, or maybe, you know, he or a crew chief just didn't have the correct amount of fuel selected for that car, is my assumption.
But it is interesting. So we had some of our sleuths here with the PRL and RaceSpotTV try to get to the bottom of that and ask Richard Regan Jr., Trent's spotter, if there was a reason for coming down pit road, and we're going to try something here. Oh, goodness, as that's a slide from Jeff Chandler. That's trying something a little bit too much. But it was something, trying something. So if they meant to do something, they wanted to try to do something, then I just don't get it. As we get a replay here, Chandler just losing it, and a great save on the exit of turn 2 onto that Nellis straightaway back there at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with 15 to go. Harvey up 9/10, and that advantage continues to grow between he and Abner Acosta. Sepulveda has gone into pit road as Trent Dingle gets another spot and another bit of comfort between the championship and where he currently runs in P13. And also, he's only 4/10 behind Brandon Walters. We see this battle for third, Derek.
Now, let me give you credit and an idea you had that, if you're right, is pretty smart. It's a big brain move by Trent Dingle. If this first group doesn't think they can make it on gas, if they think that they were not capable of getting all 60-some laps in under that tank of gas, then Dingle stopping early and justifying the 2 tires is a smarter move, because those 2 tires will definitely help the speed of the car at the end of the run, if that's the case. So if we're going to find out that Acosta and O'Brien and others couldn't make it, then you're right. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not an error on the pit stop. Maybe it's just not doable on the pit stop.
If that is the case, then yes, it was the smart move and the right call. But a lot of factors have to go your way, right? A caution can't come out at the worst possible moment, things like that. You can't plan for a caution to come out, but you got to have that in the back of your head as a possibility. The other thing is, if they don't run out of fuel, the only way that strategy works is if your 35-second delta in pit road, as we see more sliding. Is that Jeff Chandler again? No, that can't
see who that is. Yeah, that's Medina this time.
Yeah, Medina still struggling, laps down with an ill-handling race car, but that pit delta was 35 seconds for Trent Dingle. You would need to have everyone else save 35 seconds of time on track with fuel saving to potentially have it play in your favor if they don't run out of fuel. So I don't know. I just feel like that's too big of a risk. He's running 12th with 11 to go. But
what it does, and we'll have to wait till the race to confirm this, but what it does in that case, though, if you do it then where he did it, and you take the tires, you know you'll have the speed to lock up the title, and now you're away from the herd. You're away from the ruckus. You're away from the mess. If something happens, the odds of you being involved in it decrease because you're not part of the fray or the hive or the kerfuffle, depending on the word you want to use there. That's a nice word, by the way. It's word of the day, kerfuffle. So maybe that's the thought. Listen, let me get out of the way. Let me just do it early, get out of the way. This way, if there is a wreck up front, people being too aggressive, I sort of kind of like drive by it and rubberneck it instead of being a part of it.
I still don't like the move because, you know, again, this is if it was an intentional move. At this rate, Acosta was 2.5 seconds behind Trent Dingle. Pat Harvey would just now be getting into the draft of Trent Dingle, and I think Dingle would have saved enough to be able to then run with him and try and pick up this win and the championship altogether. I don't like the move. It's going to probably pay off, but
it's going to pay off, and there's so many ifs involved. We'll have to wait and find out from the drivers what happened that made it happen, and the whys, and maybe that'll help it make a little bit more clarity. mean, you're right. I mean, Pat Harvey right now is driven away from Abner Acosta, by the way. I think that's been lost in our commentary with no disrespect to Pat. I mean, he has driven away by 2.5 seconds over Abner Acosta. And then look at this battle here. Abner, Chris Hudson, James O'Brien, Jeff Chandler, Luis Rodriguez, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all just in a nice little pile here. Yeah, it's not a gaggle
race car.
It's not a gaggle.
There's a plethora
No,
of
according to
cars
a famous,
heading in the turn.
I won't name drop, but according to a famous iRacing streamer, you have to be 5 cars around you for it to be a gaggle. So it'd be 6 total. It'd be you plus 5 cars. I have watched my iRacing YouTube streams. I know this.
Okay,
Thanks, Matt
interesting.
Malone.
All right. A myriad, a gaggle, a plethora, whatever you want to say. And our producer does not agree with that interpretation. Abner Acosta is currently trying to be the trolley train of this pack. Not going to work. He's saving fuel for sure right now, and that championship is over for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, so I mean, he's going to come close and respectable. You know, Abner always does well in this league, and deserves a lot of respect. And at times gets a little attention, maybe positive or negative for different things, but a great racer regardless. But these guys right here, Chris Hudson, by the way, deserves praise as well. Won last week, currently sits second with 5 to go. Back-to-back podiums, not a bad way to end your season if that's the way that it does end up here.
Well, not at all bad between Harvey, Hudson, O'Brien, currently your podium 3, but there is a battle between second on to 5th of who's going to get those podium spots with 5 to go. This group is coming to right now. You know, we talk about Abner Acosta and Trent Dinkle and all these names. I think sometimes we forget Abner Acosta, who has got 4 championships in PRL competition, 2 in Cup, 2 in Wednesday Racing and Grand National Series and Truck PRL Racing. I mean, that's right up there. Trent Dinkle has 4. He's about to get his 5th. What is crazy to me, though, is that one race goes a different way. Last season, Dinkle splits the difference there. Dinkle was dead to rights. Acosta was about to win his 5th PRL championship, his 3rd in Cup. It did not happen. Trent won his 4th instead, and now he's about to leapfrog Abner Acosta's championship total and get his 5th overall title, 5th overall crown, and it's going to put Dinkle into a tie with James O'Brien, his teammate, and Bradley Holly.
So think about it. If one race goes different here, James O'Brien would be right in the thick of the championship conversation. He's going to finish pretty well in the points here. But look at this great battle happening on screen. This is 7th and 8th. This is Maverick Davis, Jose Acosta battling inside the top 10 with 2 to go here at Las Vegas.
Maverick Davis, Jose Acosta, these two, I mean, Maverick deserves probably a top 5 for his efforts earlier on, but it is that aggression that has lost him that time as the white flag is displayed. Pat Harvey is 1 lap away from winning this race at Las Vegas. You know, Harvey is one of those drivers that everyone loves to see get into victory lane. Only 1 PRL Cup Series win. He's going to get his 2nd here if he negotiates 2 more corners, and it's well-deserved. He had a lot of cars to try and pass after his alternate pit strategy seemed to have worked. It definitely did work. He rounds turn 4, takes the checkered flag. Pat Harvey in the 67 machine wins the Season 1 finale of PRL Cup competition, and Hudson will lose 3rd for the time being. O'Brien wins 2nd place from that one, and Luis Rodriguez by just half a tenth beats Chris Hudson for a podium position. Everyone else starting to come across the line.
All that talk about gas, Abner Acosta out about 200 yards before the line. He's going to cross P8.
And Abner,
he lost 2 positions by being out of gas.
Wow, well, Trent Dinkle crosses the line in 10th, and he is the champion of Season 1 of PRL Cup Series 2024 racing action. Harvey wins the race. He's going to get to the start-finish line and start celebrating here with the burnouts, but it is a Trent Dinkle championship once again. 5 now for him, and he's leapfrogged his spotter, Richard Regan Jr., who had 4 in Cup competition as drivers are still crossing. Let's take a look at the finishing positions. Pat Harvey, James O'Brien, and Luis Rodriguez will be your podium, and just by half a tenth, Rodriguez beat Hudson to that stripe. Jeff Chandler rounds out the top 5, while Maverick Davis gets 6, almost got that top 5. Jose Acosta will just beat Abner Acosta, his brother, by just half a tenth as well, as Abner ran out of fuel crossing the line. Park Hilliard, Trent Dinkle, your top 10. 11th place on back is Tommy Brandon, Luke Christian, and Brandon Walter. That was a close battle. The last driver on the lead lap was the 99 machine. Waldo Walden, Vicente Sepulveda, Chris Vincent, and Brandon Fetterplace all 1 lap down. Jose Medina, Bruno Mello, Devin Maines, all these drivers in on back had problems, and Chad Kibbe did not even get to start the race, but hey, he was enjoying our broadcast on RaceSpotTV. Derek, it was certainly a season to remember. No one is here for an interview, so we'll give it another little bit before we actually start to run on out of here. But I mean, it was a solid race. Some strategy came to play, fuel saving for sure. And James O'Brien is actually ready to go. And Derek, would you like to talk to the lead driver of the private label team Hype Ride tonight?
Yeah, let's do it. James O'Brien finishes P2 tonight. James,
surprise.
Nice job, right? So I'm going to ask first the question I think is safe to ask now.
Yeah.
How much gas was left in the car?
Here we go again. I don't know. I think like half a lap or half a gallon. It's half of something.
Half of something.
But yeah, it was shades of Auto Club again, I think. And I was good to go from the last pit stop, but it was dwindling, so I definitely needed to draft just to make sure. It wasn't as close as Auto Club, though. Auto Club, I started that run with no fuel to make it. This time I was the other way around, but definitely was in the good.
Yeah, you really are like the, this is an old reference, right? You're like the, was it the 2002 Ryan Newman of the group?
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a good reference to get, right?
Yeah.
So, great run. Pardon me, great run tonight. How was the racing as a whole?
I think it was a little bit more laid back than usual. There wasn't really any risk to lose championship positions. We already locked the team championship away. We were kind of having fun. I don't know if you could tell at the beginning when I was just going 3 wide and kind of being foolish at the beginning, but I was just kind of having fun. But at the end, we were kind of caught out a little bit, and I realized, hey, I probably should try to go for it. I didn't think I could win, but I was really quick at the end, and unfortunately Trent and Abner were on the other side of the fuel mileage again.
Well, it's going to be another season where I think yourself and your 2 teammates, Abner and Trent, are going to be in the top 3 in season points once again. So what's ahead for season 2? Are you coming back full-time for season 2, or what's the story?
Yeah, you're not getting rid of me. I don't know. More of the same, I hope. I hope that we can fill this league up. I know we still have spots open, so if you're listening out there and you want to try to save more fuel than me, come do your best.
I don't know if that's humanly possible, James.
My teammates don't even know how I do it, because every time this happens, they're like, how many laps are you good to? And I was like, oh yeah, I could pit 3 more laps after you guys. And they don't even ask anymore. They're just kind of like, yep, that's James. So yeah, we have some spots open. I kind of want to shill PRL. It's a great league. Come have fun at any of the leagues, races that they have. GT3, GT4 signups are open. Yeah.
Well, listen, great job tonight. Anyone you want to give a shout out to? Anyone who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, private label, Ethica, Ty, Tommy Milner back at the home base, Richard Regan for sitting up on the box for all of us, mostly Trent, but I didn't listen to his pit call. All my teammates, Trent, Abner, Brandon, and you guys for putting this on, and everybody for watching. So, yeah.
All right, James. Well, just a couple weeks. We'll see you again at COTA.
Yep.
Have a good off season.
You too, man.
All right, that's James O'Brien. James O'Brien, pardon me. He finished
James
P2
O'Brien.
tonight. O'Brien.
Oh,
He's
man.
Brian. It's not what I meant to say. I promise. I'm sorry. Finishes P2 tonight, and now let's catch up. I think with the season winner.
Yeah, you know what? Let's keep Trent waiting. He's used to being on first. We're going to talk to Pat Harvey, who finished first in the race tonight. Congratulations, your second PRL win. I gotta say, the strategy worked with where the caution fell. You came in and you were able to get a lot more speed. What brought you down on lap 60 of that, second to last stint there?
I guess, are you talking about, thank you, by the way. Are you talking about the last pit stop?
The last
we did?
caution.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know. We did our usual, math that we weren't really sure what we were talking about, but then I think Chris was actually the one that said, let's just run it dry. And I don't know, we weren't sure, but we went with it and it somehow worked. I don't know what those other guys were thinking. It was kind of scary that the one time nobody pitted and it seemed like they were going to have to still stop twice. So I don't know, even it came down to the same thing. Like, we're like, we thought we messed up on fuel again, but it worked out. It was nice. So shout out to Chris. He called that.
Well, Pat, you apparently did better math than me, as the broadcast is currently legitimately saying right underneath your name right now. So I've got to ask, when it comes to, getting your second win in PRL competition, your first of the season in the last race of the season, do you feel like you can take that next step and start competing for the championship maybe next year?
Well, I hope so. That's the plan. It feels good. I feel like we've got good speed. Things are going in the right direction. So yes, championship 4. Bank on it.
Bank on it. Pat Harvey says, anyone you want to thank before you get on out of here and celebrate this win?
My teammates, the SGE guys, they're all very helpful. Definitely couldn't have done that without them. My wife and my son and my dog Snoopy, and shout out my grandma Mammy. She watches every race. So
heck yeah, Pat Harvey wins at Las Vegas. Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, Luis Rodriguez finished in P3, and Derek, you're standing by with him.
Luis, when all said and done at the end of the race, you're going to finish P3 in tonight's action. What a great run here. Talk us through how you felt about that race.
Hello everyone. Yeah, so happy to finally have a clean race and be able to finish this race. So I'm so happy. I had a decent quali, but everyone was so close. So I said, okay, and let's just focus on the race and try to work my way up. And at the end, it paid off really well. So after the last pit stop, I was able to push like crazy, and I was able to catch everyone. So I was very happy with that. And then by the end, I got caught up Chris, and I think I caught also James, and got a bit of was trying to manage my tires, my right front, so it was difficult to make a run. So, but at the end I got Chris and the podium, so I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's a great run, right? So a top 3 here tonight is in the last race of the season. Does that make you feel good? Does it help you get momentum for season 2? Are you coming back for season 2?
Actually, I'm looking for that. I mean, we'll see for next season. I'm not confirmed yet, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, for sure. I started well. Mid-season was pretty rough, so to be able to finish in a good position, good spot in the podium, definitely for sure is so nice. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully next season. Let's see. I'm kind of confirmed yet, but yeah, definitely for sure. Good,
and a pleasure watching you all season. It's been really fun watching. I do hope you come back. Is there anyone you want to say thank you to or give shout outs to?
Yeah, shout out to my friend Vicente, of course. We worked together the whole season. Every week we were practicing, so it was fun. We didn't get the results that we hoped for, but yeah, at least we put the hard work, and at the end I think it paid off with my podium and also with Vicente podium. So yeah, so happy about that. We'll see.
Great job tonight, and hopefully we'll see you next season.
Thank you guys. Shout out to everyone as well in the booth and everyone who's watching. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Luis. Have a good night.
Thank you too.
All right, well, now it is time to catch up with the man, the myth, the legend, the Season 1 champion, Trent Dinkel. Congratulations on another season victory.
Thank you.
So let's just end all this now. We were confused in the booth. We've thrown out probably 25 what-if theories. So help us out here. You pit right in the middle of that last run. You take right side tires, about 9 seconds worth of gas. Did you not think you had enough gas to make it to the end, or what happened?
No, I knew I wasn't going to have enough gas, so when we pit under green the first time, I just had Richard short fuel it. So then that way, I could run a little bit faster. And then obviously I knew we were going to be toast, so I just came in and filled it, or not filled it, but put rights on it and filled it back up to where the adjustment worked. And I mean, it kind of worked out. I really only finished 2 spots behind Abner. I think in hindsight, obviously I would have pitted at that last caution, but the way the race was trending, I was like, there's no way I'm going to pit. I want fresh tires at the end of the race. And then of course everybody gets their ducks in a row and we stop wrecking. So, but it's all right. I knew what I needed to do, and my only goal was to finish somewhat close to Abner, and that happened.
What was the hard part of that decision? Was it the what if a caution comes out after I pit again? Was there any hesitation in that decision, or were you just set on that being the call?
What call?
Your last pit stop, I mean.
Oh yeah, no, like Richard just asked, he's like, do you want to gamble? And I was like, yeah. And I mean, if you're gonna be short, we were gonna be short. I don't really like racing like halfway. I'd rather just drive the crap out of the car and see where we can get it up to. But I mean, I was still kind of hoping that people would wreck, because I mean, if we would have had a solid 10 laps, I probably could have drove to the front, because I mean, I was able to hold off Chris, Pat, and a few other guys that were on 30 lap fresher tires than me, and I was able to hold them back pretty good. And then they eventually kind of fell off, so I wasn't really worried about our pace. I know that, Team Conti, they had a heater set up for us this week. So, but yeah, in the end, it all worked out, and it's all good.
Well, first on Race Spot, we'll see you in the PRL All-Star Invitational, but I think the answer is yes, but I'm going to ask, are you coming back for Season 2?
Yeah, I'm going to. My personal loan approved, so we're good to go. Just kidding. But yeah, I love PRL. I've always loved racing here. I ain't going anywhere. I think we have little squabbles with everybody in the league from time to time, but I do like racing with all these guys. After running all week in officials, dealing with idiots and people driving you bad just because you have a certain setup shop on the side of your car, and to be able to come into PRL and we're all just racing, having fun on Sunday night. I do like it. Kind of like a dessert for me at the end of the week, I suppose. So I'll be back. I gotta try and, what they say in Dukes of Hazzards, the drive for 5. I gotta win 5 in a row. So we'll try it.
Got to get up there with MJ and the others in the 5 feet, right?
Did you change rooms?
Yeah, I got.
We need to talk about this. That's right, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a whole new room. The non-used room in my house was, probably double the size, and I just was running out of room, so I was waiting on Advanced Sim Racing to get a couple things in stock, and I ordered them up. Me and my woman painted it this weekend, and now I have lots more room.
Not to scare you, but you have a dog.
I know, he's passed out. The cat's on the left.
Are we going to get all the stuff in the background again? Like, are we going to get the cars and the...
It's all up there, okay. But then everything else, see, it's all up here.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So, there you go. You just got the room tour. But
as the title says, a new room reveal.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we'll be ready to go for next season, and it'll always be a tough fight with everybody in here, but I always enjoy it.
All right, Trent. Well, congrats on the season win, and we'll see you next season.
All right, thank you.
Well, that's it. Season 1, 2024, all done, dusted, but guess what? It's coming back. Season 2 signups are now open. Visit precisionracingleague.com to sign up for all of the series that are on hand. It'll be fun. You can get yourself on RaceSpotTV, hopefully not wrecking it into the inside or outside wall. There's options there for the taking. Trent Dinkle wins by 18 points over Abner Acosta. James O'Brien just 27 points back of Dinkle. Private label team Hype not only finishes 1, 2, 3 in the championship on the team standings, but of course wins the team's championship with 89 points ahead of Pioneer Racing. 1, 2, 3 drivers, 1 in teams. That's pretty dominant, Derek. Any final words to wrap up this first season in 2024?
What a great season it was. We saw some new winners. We saw some old winners. Had a great schedule of races. It was very, very fun. I'm excited to see what Season 2 brings us across everywhere. PRL, of course, tomorrow night, Monday night, I believe is the last night of the season for the Spaceship Series, as our producer Dustin Author calls it. But the prototypes, the LMP2s, GT4s, LMDHs, LMP3s are all racing tomorrow night. So have fun there, and we'll see you next season.
We will see you next season. Pat Harvey wins at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Trent Dinkle wins the championship from Derek Watson and Dustin Ollis and Nick Hunter in the PRL. I'm Dylan Coyle. We wish you a pleasant good evening, good night, and good racing.